On this episode, I am making amends. A while back, I did a poll on what series you wanted me to do, and the Boogeyman series won by a resounding number. And I covered the 2000s era series a few weeks back. However, it seems like a large number of people were voting for the 1980s Uli Lommel version of the Boogeyman instead, and I don't want to disappoint them, so here they are. So now that no one's disappointed, except me, I had to watch them. So we're going all the way back to 1980 with Uli Lommel's The Boogeyman, which, as we're about to find out, is a very different animal than its 2000s era counterpart. I should point out that Lommel was actually associated with Andy Warhol heavily at the time, as they were frequent cohorts, although I'm not sure that there's a comparison when it comes to their art styles. The film starts with a flashback, and there's two young children, and one of them, in a pretty Halloween-esque moment, stabs his mother's boyfriend to death in front of a big spooky mirror. It then jumps to 20 years later, and the kids are now grown up, and one of them lives in... Oh, no. Is this an Amityville film in disguise? Am I being punked? Willie no longer speaks, but Lacey is seemingly in a stable marriage, although cutting turkeys makes her feel funny. She's having a hard time, so she goes to see John Carradine because he's such a soothing presence, not spooky at all, and well, that was something. If you're wondering about Lacey's amazing performance, just know that actress Susanna Love was married to Lommel at the time. And they decide to go back to the old house, where the murder happened for Lacey to confront her fear. There they meet Timmy. Boogeyman! Timmy! And they discover that Creepy Mirror is still there doing creepy mirror things. So she smashes it. But the husband decides to take it home with them and completely restores it because. But a single shard remains at the other house and can possess people to stab themselves, but also controls windows. In this, I'm gonna call it a death scene. Boogeyman! The mirror's abilities and even motivations are kind of questionable when a shard gets stuck to Lacey's son's shoe and it simply reflects light into a nearby house where two randos are, and they're both killed. The Doctor talks about a similar incident in 1975, so we're at least past that, and then this happens, whatever this is. Alright, so I guess that the glass is in her eye, so she goes on the attack, and I suppose pinning her husband to the kitchen, although it seems more like he's just holding on to the cabinet handles. And then let's see, we're a little Halloween, a little Amityville. I guess we might as well throw a little Exorcist in here too, I guess, right? They then throw the mirror into a well, which destroys it, and it's a short while later we see that the shard in little Kevin's shoe remains. It falls out in the graveyard though, and there's no date in this one, but we know it's post-75, so we'll go with real-time 80 and set the beginning in 1960. A sequel arrived 3 years later with 1983's The Boogeyman 2, or Revenge of the Boogeyman, and this one had no studio involvement at the request of Lommel, reducing the budget of the film dramatically. I mean, look at these credits. I think this is someone's hand holding the card in place, and this actually is someone's hand holding the card in place. And how magic is that? We're in Hollywood now, and Lacey and Mickey are back on a film shoot, but Kevin is with his grandparents. They say that 6 months have passed since the last film, so we're probably in the same year, or at the very least early in the next year, so this would be either late 80 or early 81. And here's the crazy story behind this movie. Paramount wanted a sequel. They wanted Lommel to make part 2 for them, but he didn't want to work with the studio anymore and instead made the film as an independent production. Investors wanted him to make another one and offered to put the money up for it, and he said that he would do it if he could do anything he wanted and call it Boogeyman 2. The investors said yes, so Lommel made this, which is only about an hour and 15 minutes, and approximately half of it, if not more, are flashbacks to the first movie, recycling footage. Her filmmaking friends gets the idea to make a movie about Lacey and Mickey's experience, and Lommel himself plays the director. And then, wait a minute, Lacey, she kept a piece of the mirror? Why would she do that? She even carries it around with her. The original footage shot for this one is very carefully crafted.
What? What? What the hell even was that? What just happened?
And one of the producers mentions Poltergeist, which came out in 82, which might mean that this one is actually 83, which would shift the first one as well. So this would be early 83 with the first film probably later in 82?
That actually sounds awesome. Can I watch that movie instead of this one?
Finally, 51 minutes into this hour and 15-minute movie, the Boogeyman actually does something that isn't a clip from the last movie and starts killing. He, I guess, kills a couple in the bathroom in a scene that I swear came out of a horror movie parody, and he murders them with toothpaste and an electric toothbrush, or is that shaving cream? I don't know, but it's hilarious.
I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be, but it is.
But maybe not as hysterical as this ladder tailpipe combo death. Like, I get that you were knocked into it, but just take your mouth off of it.
Nothing seems to be holding you there.
There's a fight with the butler who has the shard, and he drowns in the pool, and Lacey and Mickey decide to make the movie after all. But the evil still lives and blows up a car. And let's take a closer look at this whole scene here. They buried the butler in some like ramshackle grave for some reason, and then they went to visit it. Like, I guess they did this themselves? It seems like an actual cemetery, but I can't really imagine them just using sticks as an official marker or just piling up the dirt like that. Plus, why was he buried in his gloves? And they didn't take the glass away from him? Why would they go to visit the grave anyway? They didn't know the guy, they just met him like a day earlier. How does the car blow up like this?
Should I do an unanswered questions video just on this scene?
Lommel returned to the series 11 years later with 1994's Return of the Boogeyman, which tells of Annie, who dreams about a pantyhosed-faced man stalking her, much like Lacey's mom's boyfriend, and apparently has a mirror, very much like the evil one. Annie's apparently staying at her psychiatrist's beach house, which sounds kinda shady to me, like...
Okay, Doc, you sure that's ethical?
And then... Again? No.
That can't be right. You're not going to do this to me again, right?
Well, they are, because this movie, again, is almost entirely made up of footage from the first movie. But it appears as if there's some timeline shenanigans here, as they say that those events are from 1978, and the doc says that that was 15 years ago, and that sets these events in 1993, but that makes the first film void since it says that it was 20 years after the murders we're seeing here. So either this is set 5 years before the first film and that one happens in 1998, or this is supposed to be a different continuity with different events occurring, especially because they say that the little girl is named Natalie, not Lacey. They say that it's September, so September 93, and keep talking about Natalie, and mention that she saw the murder 15 years ago, so they're definitely retconning things for this entry, unless Annie is just getting false information in her visions. All of the visions, of course, are recycled footage from the first film. Not even the first and second, just the first one. So we're now at 3 movies and only about 1.5 movies worth of original material. There's more revision as the flashbacks discuss Lacey's aunt and uncle and refer to them as her mom and dad, and our original footage, in which I should point out that nothing really happens in, nothing at all. It's, at least the second one had ridiculous stuff happening in between flashbacks, but this one just has nothing. And it ends with Annie thinking that she's cured, but of course, she's not. There. That's the ending.
This is truly painful.
Even though that's the official releases, there's more Boogeyman out there in one form or another from Lommel, although I'll be damned if I could find traces of it anywhere. There's apparently a director's cut of Part 2, which is literally just more recycled footage from Part 1, with interspersed interviews with Lommel in character as Mickey Lombard, the director from the movie, being interrogated after the events. It's not a director's cut by any stretch of the imagination. It also looks like there's a new version that's been cooking since 2016 or so with Boogeyman Reincarnation, which looks to be entirely new footage, surprisingly, and is directed by Lommel, although except for a teaser trailer, not much has been released. In fact, according to Wikipedia, they may instead be trying to push through a TV series called The Boogeyman Chronicles instead, using the reincarnation footage as the pilot episode. There's been no news on it for a few years, so maybe the Boogeyman has been vanquished at last. Maybe we'll never have to see that footage recycled again. Now, there's other films out there that at least have the title Boogeyman, but they are not connected to this, and I'm done talking about movies called Boogeyman.
Boogeyman! So there you have it. 3 movies. I can't say that with a straight face. It is 1 movie, and then 2 additional movies showing it again with some additional scenes for padding. Yeah, this did not really make a whole series. It's not really interesting to watch, especially because it doesn't even keep continuity with itself. The first and second movie sort of have a continuity, but then the third movie is its own thing. It's not really connected to the first 2 movies, although it does use footage from the first one. So I guess it's rebooting itself. It's pretty weird. Comparing these to the 2000s versions is kind of difficult because there's definitely more fun in this one. Like the first Boogeyman movie was a lot of fun. It was just that 80s cheesy silly that I got a real kick out of and enjoyed it quite a bit. And then the parts of the second one that were shot for the second one were pretty fun. I mean, it's really weird and silly. The third movie was unfortunately very difficult to watch. So ultimately, if you had me choose between watching this trilogy again or the 2000s era, I guess I would go with the 2000s era just because there's more to watch. I don't want to watch the same movie 3 times again. But let me know what you would prefer. Which version of the Boogeyman do you think is better, the 80s or the 2000s? Put that in the comments down below. And also like and subscribe. Check out other videos of mine, and then go to the Patreon page, patreon.com/movietimelines, and you can become a patron of the channel like these guys over here, who are all awesome. Thank you guys very much. And you're also awesome for watching these videos. I certainly appreciate that, and you guys sticking with me. And I will see you very, very shortly for another great one. Thank you. Bye-bye.